and I'll post this maybe later. So public class, we're going to call this class man. And then inside there, we're going to create a constructor. We'll say public man, and we won't take any parameters to start with. Okay, so that's typically how you start a new class. Now, we haven't done classes before in Java. You know, if you look at the main method here, you see that it has a class method that's public, but it doesn't have a constructor because it's kind of weird. It's a static class. So I like to make objects out of things. When you have a group of things that hang together really well, that in some kind of concept, that if you can get it all packaged up into one thing, that's really helpful. And so we're going to have this man object that knows how to draw itself and knows how to keep track of whether it's run out of guesses or something. Now, the constructor we'll leave as empty right now, but we might say inside it, we'll say we're going to keep track of the number of guesses, kind of like we did in the last game. And then we want to start out with the number of guesses being 0. So in the constructor, we're going to set that equal to 0. Just so that when the man gets created, it starts out the count at 0. Now, it'd be nice if we had a way of getting what the number of guesses is from the man, because this is private. So other objects or other classes in this program aren't going to be able to get access to it directly. So we're going to add I call this a get function, or some people call them accessors. But you say public int get guesses. So you have this method called get num guesses, and all it's going to do is return that private variable called num guesses. So we're going to ask from the game part, hey, how many guesses have there been? Is it more than this? Then they lose, right? Because because that's how we're going to figure out whether they lose or not. The other thing this man is going to have to be able to do is to be able to draw itself. But again, we're not going to draw with graphics. We're going to draw with text. So let's create that method. We'll make it void, and we'll say draw. And what it will do is it will draw itself. And that's what we're going to try to look at today. At least get a start on it today. Is how do you draw the man? Let's just get this man working a little bit. We'll do a system.out.println and say we want to draw the guy's head. So we're going to use, I was thinking we'd use the letter O, capital O, for his head. That's going to be the top of the man. And then for the arms, I was thinking we could use maybe the / and then there's this thing called a pipe symbol. It's above the return key. If you shift, there's a symbol that looks like a straight up and down line, and that's what we need for the body. And then here we need a /, but there's the problem with the / because / in Java has a special meaning. And so if you really want a / in your picture that you're drawing, you have to actually put in 2 backslashes. So it seems redundant, but and it's only true for backslashes. So you have to put in 2. It's very, very weird. But when it actually prints out, it only actually prints out 1. System.out.println. And then for the legs, I was figuring we just use / space, and then again a double / because we need just 1. So where's the / here? Right? Looks kind of funny, but that's what our man's going to look like when we're done. Okay. Now let's give this a try to see if we can actually draw our man. But we have to create our man first, and then we have to tell it to draw itself. And this is just a test. We're going to have to go back and work with this code a lot more. But here, instead of saying hello world, I switched over to the main.java thing. We're actually going to create a man. So we go so we say man, a man. So we're creating a man, and we're calling its constructor. So we use the keyword new, and then we say the name of the constructor, which happens to be the same as the name of the class. And now we've just created a man. So so let me just put a comment there. Create a man. Okay. And that's the code actually to create the man. And then you can tell the man to draw itself. You can say a man dot draw. It should draw itself onto the command line. Let's try that and see if it actually works. It's always this. Oh, look at that. So that rarely happens in programming where it works the first time. And like I said, I haven't coded this up before yet, so I'm just kind of making this up as I'm going. But it's cool. It looks like a man, right? So we've got the first part of our hangman done, at least the man part. Now we're also going to have to draw the scaffold, right? Where they they have the little platform and then the thing where they put the rope and stuff. Question is, how do you draw that? Well, that's probably going to have to be part of our drawing here. So what I'm hoping for that you can do this week or the rest of this week is to draw that scaffold so that it holds the man. And that's always going to be drawn. But then the man part is you're depending on the number of guesses. We draw maybe just the head, or if they've had 2 guesses, the head and the body, or if they've had 3 guesses, the head, the body, and the right arm. So we have a lot of code in there that we have to put in just to figure out how much of the man to draw. But the scaffold part, or the gallows, I guess they call it, the gallows part, you're going to have to draw that every time, and you're going to have to make it work with the man as well. So here, we'll just draw it as part of the man, and like say we're going to scoot things over. Luckily, the typeface we're using is monospace. That means every letter has the same width to it, and so you can line things up pretty well. I'm going to give myself a lot of room here. Probably too much, but I'm just scooting over the man here, and then and maybe I'm drawing the scaffold here. So you put the bottom. Notice when I put in characters, it scoots everything else over, so I have to fix it after I'm done. Okay, and then maybe you put maybe an underscore here, and then maybe a pipe symbol with an underscore. Man, it's getting messed up as I do this. You see how I'm drawing the scaffold, and we want this to go above his head and then over and then down. Okay, so you'll need an extra line here at the top, but that's basically the process of how you do that. But then the question is, how do we draw only part of the man based on the number of guesses? Okay, so that's our question. So see if you can finish up on the gallows, and then see if you can also make it so that think about how you're going to make it so that it only draws part of the man based on the number of guesses and what the order is. Now, how many man parts are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that normal for Hangman? I don't know. Is it just 6 guesses? If you get 6 guesses wrong, you're hung and then you lose. Let's go with that, unless I'm counting parts wrong. I don't know. Maybe there's more parts, but that's kind of hard. With just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guesses. Yeah, you can only have 6 guesses anyway. The way Hangman works, right? You guess a letter. If it's in the word, there's a secret word or phrase, kind of like Wheel of Fortune. And if you get it right, you fill in that letter in that blank. If you get it wrong, they add a piece to the man. And if the man ever gets completed, then the game's over because you got hung. So anyway, that's basically how Hangman works. But But at least I'll get you started, at least on the drawn part, and then we're going to figure out how we're going to handle the generating what are the parts we need to do. We have to generate a random. We have to have a list of words or a list of phrases and pick one out randomly, and then somehow show all the blanks on the screen. We also have to show them which letters they've used so far, so they don't use them again. And then we have to be able to determine when they're in a losing condition or a winning condition. And then we have to take different actions based on that. So this is going to be multi-parts to this game. We've got the first part started, at least, is this object man. We're going to have other objects in the game, maybe the game controller, we'll call it, and it'll keep track of, maybe it keeps track of what letters have been used so far. I don't know. We're going to have to figure out some more objects that we can put together. So anyway, that's a good start, I think. So here's the code. I'm just showing you the picture of it here. I'll try to post this video out there as well, so you can take another look at it if you get stuck. And then here's the main method that we have so far. Any questions right there, right now? I'm going to have to switch over to my other class, but we have about a minute left if you have a question. No questions? Okay, so also remember, you can work together on this one. So there's this way of inviting someone else into your Replit. And so you can just, if they tell you their Replit username, then you can invite them here, or maybe their email address. You invite them here, and then you can work together and talk about how would you actually code this. So collaborative coding is okay on this one, okay? So no questions? So quiet. Are you guys awake? I haven't heard anything for a while. Somebody just acknowledged that they're there.
I'm here.
There's Logan. Okay, good. I just want to make sure people haven't gone and watched television. I'm sitting here talking to myself. Okay. All right. Well, hopefully that'll be a good start, and then think about the next pieces, and then we'll work together next time on how to add the ability to make a guess. But we have a lot of work there to do before we get to that point. But we'll do it step by step, and you can see the process of making a game from scratch kind of on the fly.